Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. I'm Nick Zulovich, part of the team at Cherokee Media Group and senior editor of AutoFin Journal and Subprime Auto Finance News. In today's session titled, Artificial Intelligence for Financial Institutions, How Your Call Center Can Automate Revenue and Reduce Expenses. We have a great presentation in store from Interface.ai and Allied Solutions. Just a couple quick housekeeping items before we start today's session. You'll be in listen-only mode for today's webinar, but you can, if you have any questions, can just use the chat function here on Zoom to submit those questions at any time. We are recording today's session, so keep watch of your inbox for a message containing a link so you can review the great presentation and share it with your company teammates. So without further delay, let's get right to our experts. Shri Injay, the Chief Executive Officer of Interface.ai, and Charlie Peterson, Senior Vice President of Strategic Initiatives at Allied Solutions. Gentlemen, take it away. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Welcome, everybody. I'll start out and just talk a little bit about what the roadmap's going to look like today, and I think you're going to really appreciate what you see today. You know, one, call center challenges, we all know about those, and then we're going to jump right into introducing to you what self-service looks like from an intelligent perspective on a digital level. We'll give you an AI, artificial intelligence powered call center demo, and that we've had a couple of technical issues, but we're going to walk you through what that demo looks like. And then we're going to take you beyond call center automation and what that all means. Everybody on the call has a different business model to a certain degree. You do a lot, some of you do less, but you are on the all in the auto finance business, and we know that. So transforming the auto finance experience with AI, who's going to be the next Amazon when it comes to delivering a brand and an experience that's unlike anything before. And lastly, we'll have some Q&A. So what are the call center challenges? Well, I think we've all felt the pandemic. And if we go to things that have really kind of pained us through the process, we've seen ranges out there on increased call volume. I've witnessed as high personally as 54 minutes that I timed when I was on a call. They've come back down, but they've not returned to, where we used to be pre-pandemic. I don't think we'll ever return to that because our behaviors have changed. So your volume has jumped up and it's continued to stay on the upper side of what it used to be. Your wait times certainly are probably coming down, but I come across FIs that are also out there that are feeling the pain as well. And abandonment rate, something that we really don't want our customers doing. We don't want them jumping ship. And that can be anywhere between 5 and 30%. You have to ask yourself, where are we sitting today? Because that impacts your service and your brand image.
Thank you, Charlie. Thank you for being part of this. So, a real quick question: so, can auto finance companies be solving this problem by, hiring more staff?
Well, that would be the recipe in the past for sure. But I think, financial institutions and auto finance, we're not unique right now. Hiring people is really, really hard. And finding people who have got the education and the knowledge to be able to come in and speak what you need them to speak is difficult by any measure. So yeah, you can be hiring, but you can also be looking for solutions that might help you in the efficiency side and also building your brand and net promoter score.
Got it. I mean, it's pretty challenging, right? So the companies we've been talking to have the open positions out there for 6 months, unable to hire with the increased wages and so many options and whatnot. There's a permanent shift in the call center staff too. They've found a new challenge because call center has always been a thankless job and very challenging. The pandemic probably given them many other opportunities to explore. Why can't the auto finance companies explore being able to outsource these calls to an outsourced call center provider?
Well, that's again part of the old recipe, isn't it? I mean, because there's plenty of them out there, and you can find them onshore and offshore. But you come across the challenges there too, because if you're facing challenges in hiring qualified people, they're going through the same challenge. And if you go offshore, you come into a little bit of the ability to understand what's being said. You get some call delays, etc. Accents can cause a problems right here in the U.S. You know, when I talk to someone down south or what have you, you know, it can be a problem on a whole different level, a whole lot of different measures. So what used to be a solution, it's a complex solution today. So how can we do some other efficiencies that we can employ to help us along the way as we do those sorts of things?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, outsourced call centers are also operating at full capacity. So they're not taking any new clients, right? So it's going to be much challenging to do that as well. So, can AI help here in any way?
Well, without question. And I might add that most of the people on the call today, they're using AI today, but they're using it in a robotic sort of way, in the sense of back office robotics, or they're using it from an underwriting perspective, et cetera. This is different, obviously, because this AI speaks and it talks to your customer, and that's a whole different game. But look, artificial intelligence, conversationally, and the natural language ability, it can help automate upwards of 60% of all the calls that are coming in, and your customer is doing self-service. And that's really what you're after. And to have a zero abandonment rate, that's unheard of in the call center world. Call a few of your competitors and see what that's like, and then call your own call center. Most people say, well, I have people for that. No, I would suggest you call your own so you can experience it as well. You'll talk about the volumes that you can handle, but you do 1.5 million transactions a day today and 15,000 calls per second. That ought to be the scale that most organizations want to be a part of. A lot of you have parent companies and banks and bank holding companies. This works for them across the board. It works for you as well. Here's the one thing that I will throw out, and I'm going to pass it back to you. But look, you want to make sure that the information that's provided by your call center is accurate. And Forrester Research did a study back in 2020, and they basically said, if you call a call center, 34% of the answers are incorrect. Well, that's a compliance problem, isn't it? And so the one thing about artificial intelligence and machine learning, it's going to give the answer that you train it to give, and better yet, that your partner trains it to be able to provide. The last thing I will say is this: you can have multiple languages. And so when a member or a customer calls in and says, hey, I need some help, but they're using some broken English, that's hard for you to communicate with. And this can handle 119 languages, as I recall, and no one on the phone needs that many. But the vision is there, and you can select the ones that you are going to need for your customer base, period. So with that, Sri, why don't you give us a walkthrough what this whole thing looks like?
Yeah, so one of the applications of AI is really about how do we kind of improve the self-service, right? So, and basically we call it intelligent self-service, right? So real quick introduction here, that's kind of the entire vision of the company, to be able to help your customer experience leapfrog from digital to intelligent self-service. What do we mean by intelligent self-service? And of course, it's AI is at the center of intelligent self-service. What we mean by that is it's around these 5 pillars, right? These are the 5 elements of self-service that is going to drive the future of self-service, and we call it intelligent self-service, right? So number 1 is delight, being able to delight your customers by providing useful insights at the right time during the conversation, right? Being able to automate that call without impacting the quality of the customer experience. Being able to have AI do upsell, cross-sell during such conversation, driving revenues through your customers, as well as being able to personalize the conversation. So every single time your customer comes back with more questions, the AI has learned a little bit more about them, so it can continue to personalize the journey. And lastly, one of the biggest challenges we are all facing today is the fraud, and especially in the call center, the caller ID can be spoofed and things like that. One of the last elements we're going to show today is how the interactions with AI could be far more secure than any other digital channel you have today with voice verification, caller ID verification. So these are the 4 elements that are unique to applying unique in a way in how applying AI you could improve your self-service, and we call it intelligent self-service. Right. So real quick, what I want to show you is one of our flagship products, which is AI-powered call center. Right. So basically, as part of intelligent self-service suite, there's about 60 different products we have. And AI-powered call center is one of the key products there. So I'm going to real quick take you through what an AI-powered call center does. So AI-powered call center is nothing but it's like an Amazon Alexa or Apple Siri like AI assistant, but far more advanced. And it is set up on your contact center. So the AI will pick up every single call coming in from your customers and respond to most of the calls without human intervention. For the calls that AI is unable to respond, it will seamlessly hand it off to one of your staff. It's as simple as that, right? The AI is working as an intelligent first responder. And this AI could be launched in 3 different stages as kind of a crawl, walk, and run stage to transform your call center from being a cost to more of a revenue center, right? The stage 1 of the journey, what we call informational, where the AI responds to general inquiries, questions about products, services, pandemic, or just promotions related and whatnot. There's no integrations required absolutely for such stage 1. Stage 2 is where AI starts responding to behind the pin kind of questions, right? So like checking loan account balances, being able to make the payments and whatnot, where the automation of the calls could go up to 40 to 60%. And stage 3 is pretty exciting, right? So here, where AI takes an opportunity of the call, if someone is calling to check about a auto loan balance or trying to make a payment, it uses such a mundane conversation. Not only it automates that so that your staff could focus on something more complex, but AI takes that call as an opportunity to even further drive upsell, cross-sell, driving a whole new set of revenues for you. That's kind of the crawl, walk, run kind of journey there. So one of the unique aspects of AI-powered phone banking is, in being able to automate the calls. If you are someone who's listening to this conversation, receiving about 28, 30,000 plus calls, right? So the AI-powered call center can actually automate close to 60% of the calls in about just 3 months after the launch, saving you close to $180,000. Like you say, can you believe that? So that's one of the unique things and the possibility. This is based on an assumption that your cost per call is about $10 or about $1.5 per minute, which is kind of the industry average. We talked to some customers who have the cost per call is about $7 or $8. Some of them have all the way up to 10 or 12. So we've taken an average. One of the unique things about interfaces AI powered, a call center is, you only pay us if we automate the call. Otherwise, you don't pay us at all, right? So if a customer calls in and they're asking a question, and AI is able to fully respond to the question without a human intervention, only then you pay us. Right? That's very, very unique, kind of ensuring there's a guaranteed ROI. And when there's value, you pay, otherwise you don't. Right? So something very unique.
Sri, just a point of clarification. So $180,000 a month. So that's over $2 million annually in savings for somebody taking just under 30,000 calls a month from their customer base.
That is correct.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Thank you, Charlie. So this is, we talked about how you pay, and then real quick, as I said, AI could do upsell, cross-sell to every interaction with a customer is an opportunity, to do something more for them, right? Either, identify their need and sell more products, or help them with some insights and whatnot. As I talked about stage 3 of the AI-powered call center, it has the ability to provide insights and, do upsell, cross-sell. Even engaging 6% of your callers if 100 customers are calling, even by engaging 6 out of 100 of them with an upsell cross-sell, we can drive you home with close to $800,000 worth of new revenue. These are not a guaranteed revenue. These are leads that when an AI does an upsell cross-sell, what we've seen is people saying, yes, I'm interested. And that lead gets registered into your CRM, right? And of course, your team needs to still work on it to convert the lead to a successful customer, right? So, that's a possibility that someone who's just processing 30,000 calls, the possibility of upsell cross-sell, right? So, but AI-powered call center is a lot more beyond just savings and possible earnings, right? So, it is, it comes down to the actual customer experience. With AI-powered call center, you can drop the call wait time and call abandonment rate. You have to literally zero, right? So most of the questions get answered by AI, giving enough time back to your staff to respond to the rest of the question, without a wait time, right? Again, with AI, your customers get about 24/7 full service, and the AI could scale up, scale down infinitely for seasonal peaks like Monday mornings or Friday evenings. Especially when the call volumes are high, and that's when exactly your staff go on a leave, right? So AI just works all the time. It can scale up, scale down infinitely for seasonal peaks. And it also avoids your customers being routed to outsource call center for overflow after hours, because outsource call centers, even though that's today is not an option if you already don't use it, because none of them are taking new customers, but it has limitation. Most of the calls they cannot answer. They pass it back to your staff. So there's the customer experience is not that great. So you can avoid your customers going through that experience. AI-powered call center also significantly reduces your call center operation, right? So we're all stuck in a constant loop of rehiring, retraining. Typically there's over 30% attrition. If we are lucky, right? So every year there's one in every three staff you hire in call center is usually looking for another job. So you're continuously rehiring, retraining, and if the training doesn't go well, there is also a risk of your customers having a bad experience. So all that operational overhead could be reduced in a significant way. So that's AI-powered call center. One of the things you may be wondering is what happens to the calls when AI is unable to answer and it hands it off to one of the staff? Is it going to be a warm handoff? Absolutely yes. Let me show another product demo here real quick. We call it Frontline Assistant. This is an AI assistant that is purpose-built for your frontline staff. Especially the one who pick up the call, and who are also available on the retail outlets. So as soon as the staff pick up a call, what you see on my screen is a frontline assistant that can be set up as a screen that pops up on the staff screen, showing the question, what they asked, and the details of the customer who is called in, right? It has ability to show that the customers probably already did the voice verification, caller ID verification, because that's something we offer. So literally, customers could call in and say, my voice is my password, and verify themselves, right? So all of that information about the question the customer is trying to ask, as well as the authentication information, is available to them, right away. Frontline Assistant goes one step beyond. It also brings a policy and procedure right away on the screen on the right side. The left side shows the context of the customer calling in. The right side shows the policy and procedure, right? They literally get step-by-step instructions in how to address this customer question, as well as they could use the Frontline Assistant to get familiar with policy and procedures, going through policies tabs and whatnot. The Frontline Assistant even tags the policies that have changed, so that your staff could go through the retraining every day for the change policies, so that they're able to respond to the customer request more accurately, right? So as Charlie mentioned, it's a big problem. Our staff respond to the questions many times incorrectly. It's not their challenge, because they are consistently put on spot right? They do 50, 60 calls a day, and people are asking all sort of questions in a day, and they cannot say, I don't know the answer to this question. They have to come up with a response. So it happens. The way to solve it is empower them with tools like Frontline Assistant, so they get access to policy and procedure, right? So that's again something pretty unique there. And what some of the benefits we have seen for organizations using Frontline Assistant is instant access to policy and procedures. Of course, we talked about it. We've seen improved staff productivity at least 20 to 30% because they're able to address the question real fast and move on to the next call. Reduced average wait time, handling times, especially when a call is handled by a staff. And the staff could be trained much faster, 30 to 40% faster, because there is a on-demand access to knowledge that is available through Frontline Assistant, right? So that's kind of a quick introduction of a couple of solutions we offer that falls in the realm of contact center, right? So especially in the call center aspect, either AI will respond to the callers directly or empower the staff to respond to the caller more accurately. So that's kind of the two products. Briefly, I want to move beyond call center because intelligent self-service is not limited to just call center alone, right? So the AI that can understand human language, respond to the questions, can do a lot more beyond just automating calls, right? So we could take this to about 23 different channels, right? So all you need is that one AI brain. The same AI that your customers talk to on a call, they could also chat with it on a text or on a website. They could even send an email and get automated responses. They could even, this AI could be embedded within social messaging platforms. Some of you may be getting DMs on Twitter or messages on Facebook from your customers. They could even respond to them automatically. It could be within your online portal. It can be set up within that. Or this same AI brain could even respond to your customers' questions while they're driving on a car, or if you have any sort of autonomous kiosks, self-service kiosk, AI could be even set up there, right? So one of the unique things about interface AI is since all of these channels are connected to the same AI brain, it helps you to kind of create a Netflix kind of customer journey, right? So let's say your customer could go into Facebook Messenger and quickly say, I want to create an online account. And AI could help right there and then and help them set it up. And if they're calling up your contact center a few days later, AI is smart enough to proactively ask, hey, are you contacting about online account opening status? Even before they utter a word, it can proactively greet them, kind of create that Netflix kind of experience, so your customers can move from channel to channel without missing a beat. And here's the best part. You can do all of this in 119 languages. Either your customers speak English, Spanish, Mandarin, doesn't matter. We got you covered in most of the languages. That's a possibility. Some of you are global companies serving customers across beyond US. This is going to be helpful as well. So one thing I wanted to also share about is integrations, which is very critical for our industry here. So these are some of the integrations that that is possible for the AI to be able to integrate with these systems. If someone is asking a loan balance or trying to set up a online account, the AI could actually get the task completed, right? Integrating to the systems and ensure full self-service, either on a call when they're talking to AI or they're chatting with the AI, right? Some of these includes the dealer management solutions or payment solutions, or let's say you have policy and procedures on a third-party knowledge management system. AI can feed off of that and help your staff as well. So we so far looked at the kind of the small roadmap on how AI could help with transforming your contact center. We also looked at how you can go beyond contact center. I want to show you some specific solutions that AI could help beyond contact center. Specifically, on your digital assets, like on your website, or you have some sort of online application process, or you have an online portal. AI could be added on all of these digital assets too, by the way, right? So I'm going to quickly show you a roadmap of how other customers of ours have added AI assistant on all other digital assets as well. So the first step in the journey, again, that's a journey, just like a crawl, walk, and journey we looked at call center. Adding AI to digital assets could be a crawl, walk, and run journey. Stage one of the journey is what we call smart discovery, where AI, it's a concierge bot you're adding on your website. So again, people could be asking questions like, what methods of payments are accepted? And go through getting those answers, and then even log in and probably make a payment. The AI will guide them answering these questions right away, because today our websites are bloated. It's just so much information sometimes on our websites, hard to find the information that a customer is coming in for. You may be wondering sometimes, why do people call us for the information that's available on the website? Because there's a lot of information, people don't have patience, right? So um, AI assistant is like an assistant, right? It just finds the information on behalf of you and makes it easily accessible and digestible, right? So you don't have to go through the whole website to find it. This alone can just deflect 5 to 10% of your calls, just adding a concierge bot on your website, right? So that's the stage one. Stage two is where the AI is snapped on to your any online forms, right? Any online forms you have, like for online account, so online application, or let's say you have a form for getting online portal access or anything like that. So you can have an AI kind of co-browse along with those forms and provide proactive tips and suggestions for your customers as well, right? So any form that, for that matter, AI could co-browse and provide suggestion, right? So we've been able to improve the form completion by about 30% by just having AI helping through the process. Right? So that's kind of the stage two. Stage three is where you add AI now within your online portal. So someone logged in to your online portal, wanting to make a loan payment, they struggle finding how to do that. Again, our online portal could do many things. Unless a customer is coming back to do the things that they do often, they're usually lost. Again, they don't have patience to find how to change an address, how to change the credit card details, because those are the things usually they don't do often. So having an AI assistant within your online and mobile portal, pretty much helps them to adapt your online portal and mobile apps much better, because AI provides guidance right there and then with helping with task completion. That's usually kind of the stage three. Stage
So,
four of, sorry, go ahead, Charlie.
Ross, real quick. So this can be voice as well as text. I can
That is-
I can access this both ways. So if I'm driving, which we all do, I
Yes.
could actually be doing the things that I do that I shouldn't be looking at my phone. I could actually be talking to it.
That is correct. So as you can see the mic button, you can click on it and just speak to it as well.
That's great.
Right. So the last step in the journey here is what we call intelligent self-service. As I said, it's a journey. You are in the kind of going through different stage of process to get to the ultimate stage, which is achieving intelligent self-service. Here, where the AI will start doing suggestion, alerts, and reminders. If it notices they have additional cash left in the bank account they've connected, it'll promote them to probably pay a little bit more and pay off the loan, or help them kind of different ways they could use the funds. It also has ability to consultatively help set up a goal. Let's say they want to shorten the tenure of auto loan. It has ability to consult with them right there and then provide them options. If you do that, here's the monthly payments going to be, and whatnot, right? So it also has ability to recommend, right? So if it notices that your customers are using, let's say, a auto loan from one of your competition, it has ability to identify those transactions, automatically recommend them. Hey, why don't you refinance with us? Right? So here is how much you're going to save, and here's the terms look like, and things like that. So that's kind of the crawl, walk, and run journey there. I would love to probably open it up for questions. If you have any questions, you could put them in the Q&A section, or you could send it on the chat here. So we'll look for a few questions that has come in here real quick for the next 5 minutes.
Gentlemen, while we wait for any of our attendees to submit any questions, excellent presentation and discussion about the capabilities of AI in a call center. And just to start our conversation, and maybe it's something each of you could address, is no doubt some financial institutions have some of the latest and greatest hardware in their facilities, while others might have some legacy systems that are a little longer in the tooth, so to speak. How does that come into play with the capabilities of AI and to be able to deploy it? Either one of you want to address that topic. If an institution has some legacy systems in place that are part of the equation.
That's yours, Srinivas.
Got it, Charlie. So one of the unique things how we set up AI, let's take an example of AI-powered call center, where the AI set up on your contact center. One of the constant challenge we see is, the contact center systems that most of our customers use in auto finance or banking is pretty old, right? Like they're very old technology. They don't enable any sort of third-party integrations. So we came up with a very unique way to do this. Our AI gets set up at a carrier level. It has nothing to do with the contact center system at all. So basically what we do is we work with the likes of AT&T or Verizon, right? So we take the phone number that auto finance companies has where the customers typically call into. We push a configuration to that phone number, which takes 30 minutes for a carrier to do. So the moment we do that, all the calls come to that phone number goes to AI first. Right? If AI cannot answer it, then we send the call back to carrier, telling the carrier, hey, you know what? Send this call to the contact center now. So, and the carrier takes care of sending the call to the contact center. So basically, no integration to the contact center system at all. So that's one of the unique ways we came up with that. I see some questions here. Should we jump on to some of the questions? I see how much manual intervention does it take to get everything loaded into AI? So I could take this question as well. So, we've been processing millions of conversations across our customers, and pretty much the AI knows the domain. So you could, out of the box, have AI answering several questions that your customers call in for without much manual intervention. So we start with usually like a 20, 30 questions. We take a more of a data-driven approach. We look at your call wrap-up report and identify what are the reasons your customer's calling today, right? And identify the top 20. And most likely, we already have support for all of those questions. We enable that out of the box. And, that the 20 questions itself should easily take you to 40, 50% call automation. What we do after that is we offer what we call a managed service, which is a fully managed service where a dedicated staff time is allocated to you and your team, who will proactively monitor the performance of AI and fine tune it. So if there are new questions that our customers are asking, the AI will identify that and flag it, and our team will take it and kind of add those new questions on an ongoing basis. Even if those new questions require a whole new set of integrations, our teams takes care of that. And the best part is we don't charge you a penny for that. Why do we do that? Is because you're paying us based on automation, right? It's a pay for performance. So we offer all this professional service at no cost to you. So we improve your automation and then get paid. It's a kind of very value driven there. Hope that answers your question. I see another question here. Are you integrated with GoldPoint? I'll have to check. That's not top of my mind. So one thing I do want to share is if we do not have an integration, one of the things we do is we do that at no cost to you, right? So especially if you're one of the first customers using that integration, We understand the risk you may perceive. We even defer all or any payments you need to make us until we successfully go live, so that you take no financial risk, right? So $0 upfront paid until we successfully integrate and show you that is possible. And of course, we don't sign up for that unless we're confident, that we can do it. So that's another option there. Charlie, you're on mute.
GoldPoint is a loan origination system. It's got over 750 different APIs that are workable. And just that suggestion alone, we have to look into whether or not we're integrated just yet. But I'm going to guess probably, very easy for us to do so. If they've got 750 APIs out there, they're used to doing that. And the best part is you don't have to pay to do that.
Yeah. And I think there's another question here, Charlie. What kind of cost is involved if AI can handle the question? So it's pretty much pay for performance. You're paying somewhere between $1 and to per every call that gets automated, around $1. So today, your cost per call could be about somewhere between like $10, between $8 to $12, somewhere between that. You're seeing that drop to about $1.
Yeah, by taking the human connection out, and what you're ultimately doing is you're really guaranteeing your compliance to a certain level, and also saving a lot of money.
Yeah, in the call center, we typically train our staff to be the bots, right? They have to follow procedures, policies, and really kind of constrain in how they have to operate. You might as well use the bot, right? So, and a bot that really works well. So that's what Interface AI offers.
And so a new hire, it's like putting training wheels on a bike for a 3-year-old. They're going to ride on their own that much quicker.
Again, we are our experts for today's webinar titled Artificial Intelligence for Financial Institutions, How Your Call Center Can Automate Revenue and Reduce Expenses. Our guest experts are Shri Injay, who is the Chief Executive Officer of Interface AI, as well as Charlie Peterson, the Senior Vice President of Strategic Initiatives at Allied Solutions. And gentlemen, as we begin to round out our webinar today, just maybe some closing thoughts, maybe some anecdotes from some clients about how explaining to staff that AI is a helpful tool, that it's not out to replace the people in the call center. And anything you care to share from an anecdotal perspective about conveying to the call center staff that this is a tool to help them, not to replace them, and any other closing thoughts about how AI can be beneficial. Charlie, let's continue with you, and then Shri can round us out.
Yeah, you bet. There's always some apprehension because we've all been there where we're hitting zero, trying to get to a representative. Representative, and the day of command language, looking for that key command word, they're gone, in the sense of this is natural language, and that makes it all that much better. What I'll tell you is this: no one likes to be under the gun to answer questions, and they have so many seconds and/or minutes to answer it. That's pressure. And if we're able to take 60% of the calls away from the call center staff, it allows them to be able to relax and have a much more customized experience for your consumer. Because usually when they're calling, it's not because they're calling to tell you they're really happy. They're usually calling because they got a problem or they need help on something. And it'd be nice if we could just, change that environment a little bit. So what I would suggest is this, and I give it to Sri after this, is that you can go to interface.ai and you can actually talk to the chatbot on your own. You can ask it the questions that it's been trained to answer. And I'll tell you this, the one that jumps out at me, it was Security Service, and they're a financial institution that's huge in the auto space. And they started with 10 questions just on their website. It now can answer 800 questions. They didn't pay to add that many questions. It is managed services. So what you've got here is a Cadillac and it will just elevate your brand and continue with that process. Srinivas.
Thank you, Charlie. I think the way some of the customers we power today have realized and kind of put the benefits in action is about 4 different ways, right? So when they see an increased operational efficiency, most of the customers have, the way they've responded to that is they don't let go their call center staff, right? But rather they stop backfilling if there is an attrition. Right, so if the staff leaves, they don't backfill those positions, and many of them have positions open for many months, unable to fill them. They've cut back on new position and hiring because AI is able to scale up doing that. And also, many of them, have outsourced contact center, right? They have cut back on those expenses as well. So because with AI, you don't need it because 24/7 can take up any kind of load. And lastly, they've relocated staff to handle more complex questions. It's kind of funny. We had another webinar last week where one of the financial institutions that we power was saying, "Hey, my staff now come back and complain that they have hard question to deal with. They don't have any more, what is my loan balance kind of questions, right?" So, because of the challenge, they're going through better training. And this call center staff, minimum wages, they're able to raise the minimum wage because they're creating more value for the business, and they're happy because they're getting more paid now and they're getting training to upskill. Right? It's a win-win-win situation for everyone. The organization won because they created efficiency, and the staff won because they're now getting upskilled and getting paid more and doing more impactful tasks. And now they're able to also attract and hire better talented call center staff through this program too. So it's kind of a win-win situation.
That's a perfect way to round out our webinar today. Again, that's Shri NJ, Interface.ai, and Charlie Peterson with Allied Solutions. Gentlemen, thank you so much for the great presentation and the intriguing conversation about how AI can help the call center. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you,
Nick.
And on behalf of all of us at Cherokee Media Group, we thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to having you again next time.